Hi, I'm Traveling John, and I'm going to travel and sketch. Join me on the adventure. In my last video, we visited Amsterdam and Leiden, Netherlands. Now we're traveling from Leiden across a beautiful countryside to Paris, France. This video and the next will be about our memorable adventure in Paris. Right now we're at the Luxembourg Gardens in Paris, enjoying a pleasant walk on a breezy day. It's clear, there's a lot of people enjoying the gardens, and after this we're going to go to some other sites in Paris, and I'm going to try to search out something that would be inspiring to sketch, and I'm sure there'll be a lot. And then before I get into doing the sketch, I would like to share some of the photographs I have taken. Greetings. Thanks for watching this vlog. All of our lodging while we were traveling through Europe was through the services of Airbnb. And so we had some wonderful hosts, and we particularly liked when we were able to stay with a family in their home and use one of their bedrooms and bathrooms, etc. It was really great because that way you get to know the people of Europe, and each one in their different country and their different characters and their love for their countries and for their cities. And in this case, when we stayed in Paris, we stayed with a hostess that just loved her city of Paris, and she of course grew up there. So I want to share a few of the photographs that I took in the place that we stayed in her home. And then I want to tell you that she went to the extra work of just sitting down with us and just going over the particular things that she thought we should see. So having that Parisian perspective on things just made our exploration of that city so much richer. So if you have the chance to stay in a place where you really have interaction with the people of that country or that city, it really enhances your stay. Now, with regards to my sketch, I took this photograph of a little bakery and cafe in a very old section of Paris, and it just exemplified to me the personality of the city and the people. But the situation was there weren't enough people when I took the photograph. So what I did is I took other pictures of people in the city and I put that into this photograph so I would get the right composition, or something I thought would work better. What I did is a ink line, just sort of sketch of exactly where I wanted things placed, and that was my guide on the canvas. And so why don't we go into the sketch right now and start that. So, some people have asked me why I use the plastic triangle as I'm doing the illustration. And of course, sometimes I use it to do a straight edge, but in a case like this, I'm simply using it to keep the canvas clean from my the grease on my hands or any possible smearing of something. So that's the reason why. And right now I'm going to be working on the people in the foreground, and I'm going to make them pretty dark to make them stand out against the back. And in a minute here, I'm going to start going really fast again with the video. This biker, I'm going to concentrate on doing it very sketchy. In fact, most of this illustration is not going to be extremely exacting. I want to give it a little bit more a rough edge. It's a wonderful thing, even in Paris, to see how many people are riding bikes and also scooters. In fact, from what I understand, scooters are so popular, especially by tourists, that it's becoming a little bit of a, I don't want to use the word trouble, but challenge, because people are getting hurt a lot. In fact, we met somebody that was a tourist renting a bike, and they weren't really familiar with the area, so they got pretty injured on their trip. That wasn't in Paris, it was somewhere else. Now those are two women that I put into the sketch from another photograph. Of course, one is on the cell phone, not unusual in today's society. This woman riding this bike was actually in this photograph. But what happened was she was riding in the opposite direction, to the right of those two men that are standing outside of the bakery. And she was just past that scooter on the right, going in the other direction. And I liked that particular pose she had, so I picked it up and put it over and going in that direction, because overall I didn't want her just riding off the page, and of course she would have been off the page because I came in closer in the composition on this building than the whole photograph was actually of more of the building on the right. I really wish, you know, when I had taken this photograph, that it had been a different time of the day. You can't always control that because the sun really glared in the upper portion of the photograph, and I would have liked to have seen more of what was going on in the building up above. But I didn't see it. And actually, you know, for this artwork, it doesn't matter really that much, because I just let it sort of dissolve off the page up to the upper left. And you'll see that as I continue on in the composition. A lot of this older part of Paris, it was a lot of very old buildings and a lot of tourists walking around. So it wasn't unusual to see people just talking on the street casually, like these two men, and that was fun. That was nice to see that. And the other advantage too, because the streets were so narrow, there wasn't a lot of traffic. I think most of the traffic was simply for delivery to smaller stores. Working on the bakery here, the windows. These two people sitting at this table were again taken from another picture I took in another part of Paris. Actually, it was probably about 4 or 5 blocks away from this cafe. But I really liked their pose and interaction, and I thought, and the pose that was originally there wasn't that good. So I just put these in instead, and I felt it worked quite well. It worked in good. I'm not going to put, again, a lot of detail on these people because I want the background to be dark and I want them to stand out. And if I were to put too much detail on it, then they would just sort of like blend in with the background. As we proceed back on the building, I'm just going to get lighter and lighter, sort of give that distance feeling. Our hostess, where we stayed, suggested we try a bakery that was just down the street from this, and we were sort of in a rush to get to that bakery because we were sort of hungry. So I took this picture really fast, and I sort of wish I had taken several more pictures of the building, maybe from different angles. Oh, but that bakery was superb. It was really nice. Got some really great sandwiches, and most of these complexes or buildings have a inner courtyard. In this case, we could take our sandwich into the inner courtyard where there were children playing and like nice park-like setting. So it was really nice. Now I'm working on a little advertising street sign, I believe, for the bakery. I'm sorry I couldn't read it all. And the vines, 2 different kinds of vines. One was a green ivy-like vine, and I think it was ivy. I'm really not a professional botanist, so I can't tell you exactly what it was. But then interspersed above, or just sort of cascading above those eaves that come out, or was like rose bushes, vines of rose bushes, or bright red roses. You probably noticed that in the photograph. But it's going to be a challenge for me in the ink line to distinguish between the ivy growth and those red rose vines. So here now I'm roughing in the red rose vines over the canopy of the cafe, and the canopy for the bakery was not all the way down, which worked out great for the sketch. See, now I'm putting the roses in. It's just really nice to see that natural growth of the vines going over the building. It gave it that character that I just really liked in this building. And of course, you won't see this in the black and white sketch, but there was a lot of nice reds here and there in this. And of course, I'm going to use that to my advantage in the other artwork when I go into color on the next vlog. So now I'm doing that ivy vine, which is a little bit, I'm making it a little darker and a little different kind of a character and line effect. Part of the rose vine sort of came out in that area. Now actually, I don't know if you noticed it, but I did increase the size of these lamps. I love the character, and I wanted to have them stand out, and if I did them the original size, they just wouldn't. They just would have gotten sort of lost. So yes, a little artistic license there, working on the ivy vine. Now this is actually the corner of the building, so the ivy vine, now I'm going to the left of the corner. The corner comes down right about where that lamp comes out from the wall. You see how I'm doing the ivy in such a way that it creates an edge where the rose vine meets it. And as you can see in the photograph, that ivy vine just grows all over the building. And again, as it goes back in the distance, I'm going to make it a little lighter, but I do want to show the edge of that long building where the next street comes in. Now the wonderful curved canopies above the windows and the windows themselves I'm putting in. Now, you know, I'm nearing the end of this. I'm going to be doing more detail in here. That's not going to be recorded in this this particular fast sketch, but I'll explain that coming up. The building and the street scene that you just saw me sketching is from one of the older parts of Paris, which I mentioned, but I didn't tell you that it was also a very wealthy area with many mansions when it was first built. It was the area that everybody wanted to live in. And this blog featured at the very beginning some of the wonderful landmarks and monuments of Paris. And the next vlog I do, which is going to be basically the color rendition of that same sketch, is going to have some of the photographs I took of this older part of Paris. So I hope you look at that and enjoy that. Now, here is the sketch that I finished in black and white. I didn't make a lot of changes since I made that filming of my sketching, but I did do some more work on the street itself, on the cobblestone street, and a little more definition of some of the different areas. I can't wait to get into the color. That's going to be very exciting. But if any of you would like to either purchase this original sketch or some archival prints of this ink-line sketch, you can go to my store. And the easiest way to do that is actually to go to my website, which is TravelnSketch.com. And there'll be a button there that you just click on the Etsy store, and that button will take you directly to my portion or my little shop on that internet site. And also there is a button there too to direct people to my YouTube videos. So if you have somebody you want to tell about my videos, then maybe that's a wise way to direct them to it. Because sometimes when you go to a YouTube site, it can become confusing with all the different places that you can go. Lastly, I would really encourage you to subscribe to this channel. There's no cost to it, and actually it will inform you each time that I'm going to be putting up a new vlog. It just sends you a little email and says, hey, there's a new one coming or up now. So I would encourage you to do that. It would not only help you, but it would also help me with regards to getting more people to go to this place. So thanks again for watching, and I hope you join me on the next vlog when I apply color to this sketch.